The Chosen One. At one point, Drew had anything the world could possibly give him written in his prophecy by the owner of the company himself, Vince McMahon. Vince came out, said Drew was going to be a future world champion. He called him handsome, which is kind of scary, and he let him have his moment. But we barely ever see anything like this anymore. The owner of the company announced his arrival like he was the Pope or something. Drew was supposed to carry on the torch for the new generation, but he didn't. His career went downhill fast. To be honest with you, I really don't know what went wrong. I mean, it's purely me judging a book by its cover, but he didn't look like a top guy to me, at least. But Vince saw something in him. The era he was in definitely held him back. We all know now that Drew was an insanely built Greek god-looking guy, but back then, he just didn't have the swag. Similar to Cody, they just didn't have it. Oddly enough, they get paired together in a tag team. I gotta give it to Vince though, his vision is insane. The way Vince treated Theory in 2022 is the way he treated Drew in 2010. Drew McIntyre went on a podcast and said he was supposed to face The Undertaker at WrestleMania 26. Imagine being told you're gonna face The Undertaker at WrestleMania, which is like the highest honor in WWE, to then a few years later being in 3MB. Anybody would have been depressed. But it just adds to the pre-NXT WWE graveyard though of good talent that got snubbed. Like Cody Rhodes, Damian Sandow, Wade Barrett, and now Drew McIntyre, the supposed chosen one. Over the years, he completely fell off. Like, I just can't imagine being announced by Vince McMahon himself to then being told you're gonna face The Undertaker at WrestleMania, to then being in a boy band with a fake Indian and a Nexus freeloader. He hit rock bottom. And on June 12th, 2014, Drew McIntyre was fired. His career was over. He was already 30 years old, and maybe he wasn't good enough. Maybe this wasn't for him. Nah, never that. He'd gained muscle, grew his beard out, and became a different beast. He was built like a brick shithouse. He would craft his in-ring skills and get better on the mic too. He went on the indies not as a demotion, but as a chance to prove WWE wrong. He'd become a world champion in Evolve, WCPW, ICW, and even TNA. Whoever put this group together was on some crazy shit. His team lineups throughout his career are so telling. But look at Drew here, compared to how he came into WWE. It wasn't even the same person. It took him 3 years. 3 years to really show that he could work, and they came back calling. In 2017, Drew would officially return to the company, but not to the main roster, to NXT. I know this sounds whack, but this worked out perfectly. He wasn't forced straight back into WWE. He was going to continue his rebuild in peak NXT. The crazy thing is, as Drew was doing all this, Cody had just started his journey. Within 4 months, Drew would win the NXT title. He had reclaimed his throne. All that time grinding finally paid off. Shortly after, Drew made his way back to Raw, and he'd team up with Dolph Ziggler with another symbolic pairing, but he was just adjusting back to the WWE style. He'd win the tag titles and face Roman at Mania, but it was nothing, and I mean nothing, compared to what he'd accomplished the next year. We get to Royal Rumble 2020. Brock would come out at number 1, and he was on one tonight. Former friends, TNA legends, musicians, all of it. Brock murked them all. 13 eliminations, catching bodies, but then Drew McIntyre came out, looking like he ran the place. This was no longer a janky Scottish guy. He was the guy. When everybody before him failed, Drew came in with no fear, with an alley-oop from Ricochet, kicking the taste out that boy's mouth. This was like a Lion King moment. On this night, Drew made it to the big leagues. Say what you want about Brock, but props to him, he really made Drew look like $1 million right here. Drew would go on to win the Rumble, throwing out Roman, a guy who beat Drew last year, and a guy we'd see later. Drew threw out Roman and Brock. I don't know if there's any better way to win than that. Look at his face. All those years from being chosen in 2010 to getting fired in 2014, to then coming back in 2017, to winning the Rumble, and going on to headline WrestleMania. And it was only up from here. Drew would go on to face Brock Lesnar for the WWE Championship at WrestleMania 36. But just as Drew was reaching the very peak of his career, the world shut down. This was horrible news for Drew. He worked all this way just to get his big moment, his crowning, in front of nobody. But this didn't cave the plan. Drew would go on to beat Brock in the main event of WrestleMania. And the Big Show was there for some reason, I don't even know why. But this is when Drew completely carried the company like Moxley did for AEW. WWE in 2020 was unbearable, but Drew was one of the main redeeming qualities. He made sure this run didn't go to waste by having bangers with Seth, Roman, Dolph, Randy. Hell, they even brought back Heath Slater for a personal promo. But even though Drew had this spot, the spot he's always wanted, the spot he's waited 10 years for, he felt unfulfilled. It felt like a backhanded compliment. Like, yeah, he did hold the WWE title for over 200 plus days, but it was in front of WWE droids on a screen. This is where the torment comes in. It felt like whenever he gets momentum, something bad happens, just like Bray Wyatt. It's like Drew would always be chasing something that was never really there. Drew couldn't ever seem to reach the top again like he was here. This would totally show in 2021 as well. This felt like a complete reset year for Drew. As at SummerSlam, he'd be feuding with Jinder Mahal. It felt like he was going backwards. But why would you build him all this way just to put him back with Jinder? But just look at the rest of this year for Drew. He gets drafted to SmackDown, loses the Big E at Crown Jewel for the WWE title, lost via countout at Survivor Series, and to end the year, he was feuding with Happy Corbin. Happy Corbin! The dude that was dumpster diving for dinner that just so happened to run up a lucky jug in Vegas was feuding with Big Drew. Drew would finish the feud beating Corbin at Mania 38, kicking out of his ended days, which that shouldn't happen, but this might have been a stinky feud. But it's like it's always been for Drew. Sometimes you got to go through the mud like an ATV to reach the sky like an F-22. And all these pointless feuds led to September 3rd, 2022. WWE's first UK pay-per-view in 20 years. The hype to this show was unreal. Drew would be taking on Roman Reigns for the undisputed title. They went all out for Drew as they gave him a mini movie with his OG theme song, Broken Dreams. This is why music and presentation matters so much. I've been thinking about this for so long, and I just feel like there's something missing with Drew, and it's the theme song. People say Broken Dreams doesn't fit his character anymore, and I don't think I could possibly disagree anymore. Like, music hits the soul, man. And that's why when the glass shattered when Stone Cold came out, you always like felt something. It was such an essential part of wrestling. You think if he had a Def Rebel Bebop Bop theme song, he'd have the same effect? Hell no. Listen to these lines, bro. You tell me. Almost to the mountaintop. You slip and fall just like a stone. You had it all right in your grasp, but in a breath your minute passed. Now at last the end has come. You were all alone. Bro, that's his career. Forget that. That's his life. This was like in his prophecy. Like, I think all these lyrics is somehow Drew. All right, Drew finally won the big one at Mania, and then he got cashed in on. Let me show you a frame. You want me to sing to you, bro? You know, matter of fact, a slideshow presented by Brothers of Production. Almost to the mountaintop. Man, I ain't singing this shit. But just look at the lyrics and look at the picture, bro. That is Drew. I can't believe how well this goes with Drew. But enough of the chit chat and the roo-rah. Let's go back to Clash. This was supposed to be his moment in front of his own people. He fought and he fought and he fought, but no matter how much he fought, he was outnumbered. The night he was supposed to be crowned, he got capped. This is a continuous roller coaster that is still going today. Let's go to 2023. Drew would go off in the Royal Rumble, 4 eliminations under his belt, caught 4 bodies, but then he got eliminated by Gunther. Basically, his replacement. Drew was supposed to be in his spot. He was supposed to retire Goldberg. He was supposed to retire John Cena. I remember seeing rumors about Drew supposed to face Cena like years ago in like 2022, and they were supposed to fight. But bro wasn't even in the tournament. That is just disrespectful, bro. But with all this context in, let's go to WrestleMania 39, Night 2. It's a rowdy show, a very hyped up event. Sheamus versus Gunther versus Drew. It wasn't even the main title, but still, the IC title is on the line and it's a very prestigious title. They would go on to have an absolute banger, with this match receiving 5 stars, and this was Drew's time to at least win something in front of fans. Drew giving his all, damn near backdooring his own boy, flying high, touching heights people ain't never seen, jumping out the air over the top rope, kicking out a heli finishers, to then letting his moment slip again, falling through his fingers, getting rolled up like Edge did to Tommy Dreamer's girl, in front of the whole world. And once again, he failed. Oh, man. And at this point, like, he doesn't matter. That was like the best match of his entire career, and he still lost. Like, at this point, what does he have to do? He tried to beat Gunther once more at SummerSlam, but he lost yet again. I guess some people just got your number, and this Gru-looking motherfucker from the Minions just got his number, I guess. But this is where Drew would show a darker side. He was pissed. He was tired of all this. He was mad that the Bloodline were clicking up, taking over WWE, and Cody was just accepting them into Raw. There was nothing better than a justified heel. But it would only get worse at Survivor Series 2023. Drew's team would lose, and CM Punk returned to WWE. This became a war. Punk became Drew's biggest op. This was Von and Tuka. There's so many overlapping stories here. So Royal Rumble 2024 hits. Cody was trying to finish his story, but at the same time, Drew was trying to finish his. These guys were tag team champions. They had the exact same journey. But Drew wanted to finish his first. So Drew basically solo dolo at the Rumble, willing to take out anybody in his path to claim his throne. Look at the people in this match. Gunther, Sammy, Cody, Punk, and Priest. Drew has history with all of them. In a very real twist, Drew would hit Punk with a Future Shock DDT, and Punk legit tore his triceps. Punk wanted to finally be in the main event of WrestleMania, but Drew took it away. So karma hit. Punk eliminated Drew from the Rumble. Broken dreams for both of them. But this made the beef scorching hot. So the final two of the Rumble was Cody and Punk. And man, this was so peak. I'm getting fuzzy talking about it. Cody would win the Rumble, and he picked Roman Reigns. That means that Punk would face Seth for the World Heavyweight Championship, with Drew nowhere to be found. But as fate would have it, Punk was injured, and that meant that his spot needed to be filled. Who would be there to fill Punk's spot? Drew McIntyre. Drew wasn't going to let the moment pass. He was doing the best work of his entire career. Punk was in tears talking about missing WrestleMania, and Drew pulled up and said, "I prayed for this, and it happened." Drew was clocking his shit, roasting him, making shirts. He was on one. But it was set. Seth Rollins versus Drew McIntyre, with Punk on commentary. With all the emotions running wild, Drew hit the Claymore on Seth. 1, 2, 3. He did it. Drew reached the mountaintop. Drew finally won the world title at WrestleMania in front of fans. He and Cody both finished the story on the same show like Cena and Batista did before them. Seth on the stage telling Drew he deserved it, but Drew let his emotions get the better of him. He won it in front of his top op, but he played too much. He had it all in his grasp, and in a breath, his moment passed. Now at last the end has come. You were all alone. Punk dropped McIntyre, Priest came out with the Money in the Bank, and he cashed in on Drew, taking the title back off of him. This is damn near depressing. 5 minutes and 46 seconds. This wasn't the only time Punk would cost him though. At Clash at the Castle 2024, basically Drew's show at this point. It would be Drew versus Priest for the world title. The ref would go down. The new ref slides in. He counts. Drew looks up, and it's CM Punk. Drew was seeing red, but Punk cost Drew again. Money in the Bank 2024, Drew wins. He finally has a ticket straight to the top. The odds of cashing in to win are like 99%. So Drew follows through in the main event. Priest and Seth are battling it out. Drew's theme hits. Yo, bro, Drew cashed in, and I swear he's getting sabotaged. Like, he got like all this adrenaline. He's ready to cash in on people and kill someone. But Samantha Irvin was like spamming every word possible and taking her sweet ass time to announce him. Like, bro, I don't know if this was like planned, but what the yo, I'd be so teed. But as Drew's about to win, Punk attacks Drew again. He literally starts choking him like, ah! Like, this shit was so bloody, bro. Drew gets pinned, with Punk laughing on the commentary desk. They basically are just edging Drew right now. They gave him a Make-A-Wish briefcase just to torment him. So not only did Punk get the better of him here, he also beat Drew in their trilogy. Drew beat Punk at SummerSlam and then lost to him at Bash in Berlin, and then he lost again at Bad Blood in their fantastic Hell in a Cell match. After all this work he put in, having the run of his career, delivering the best lines of his career like this one, "I was a chosen one 15 years ago. Then I got fired." Then he said, "I didn't call WWE. They called me." But for all this work he's done in 2024, being the best year of his entire career, you would think they'd follow it up, right? Like, he'd be good again in 2025? Nah. Drew announced like a bloodline hunter gimmick. Apparently Roman shut that shit down and said, nah, story's over, little bro. But what has Drew done since 2024? He's teamed up with Logan Paul against Jelly Roll at SummerSlam. He's feuding with Cody Rhodes right now for the title, but like he lost like 5 times already, so it's like, but what is the end goal? You can't give it to him at a lame like live event. It's gotta be a big moment. I don't know, but Drew's story is too good to be overlooked or overshadowed. He deserves to have a Cody type moment. I was never even really one of the biggest Drew fans, but while I was making this, like everything just clicked. Like this guy reinvented himself before Cody even thought about doing it. Basically had his spot stolen by Gunther, and he was doing the best work of his career to the next year to no follow-up. Is it because he was chosen by Vince? Is it because he's cool with The Rock? Who knows? But as a start, for the love of God, please give him his old theme. Even he wants it back. And if there's anybody that knows how important a theme song is, it's Triple H. Triple H was never the best on the mic or in the ring, but he had an aura-ass entrance and you always felt his presence. But we need to feel that with Drew. But there it is, man. This is the unfortunate, tragic torment of Drew McIntyre in WWE. At one moment, he's on top of the world, but the next, he's at the very bottom. But let me know your thoughts below. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'm out, man. Peace. Hold on, this is the edit in, okay? So I was watching SmackDown and Drew beat Cody for the world title or the WWE title, whatever it is. Bro, this was supposed to be his big... Nah, this got me tight. Hold on, let me tell you why this is a bad thing, okay? Number one, this was supposed to be his big moment. He was supposed to get the title in front of fans at like a big moment. It was a pre-tape. They gave him the title in a pre-tape show? Yo, are we dead ass? He's gonna hold this match for like 3 months, but all right, let's just make a deal. Let's make a deal. Bitch, be for real. All right, if he holds this title for like 8 months, I'll take this video down. If he has like a good ass run, I'll take this shit down. But if his reign is ass, it just adds to the sentiment. But that is crazy. They gave him the WWE title in a pre-tape show. That is crazy to me. But all right, man, I'm out. Peace.